Hey goblin fuckers. MIDI sound fonts isn't doing it for me in my Pokemon games anymore, so I've been listening to this over and over for about 2 months. What can I say? The trumpets really get me going. And I'm saying it's great, but I want this inside of this. How do I do it? I don't know. After searching the web, I found some forum threads, and it seems no one really knows how to put custom music into BDSP. Some mods have done it before, but from the looks of it, there's one big issue: loop points, which are hard coded into the game somewhere. Shouldn't be a problem though. After all, this guy did it. I don't know how, but at least I know it's possible. It doesn't specify exactly how he did it, and since my social anxiety won't allow me to simply ask, I just decided I had to figure it out. First of all of the sound files are stored as WEM files, and I just used Foobar 2000 to convert them into MP3. Now they're usable, I can listen to them, whatever. That was easy enough. Then I just take my replacement file and convert it to WEM. Should be no problem using Foobar's built-in converter. And that does not work. Try this, a little bit of that, sprinkle of this. Ah shit, still not working. So after scanning some more forum threads, I came across this guy. He suggests using Sound Editor 2018. Now, I have plenty of software to edit sounds and music and stuff. Still, it doesn't hurt to check it out. WWE! Turns out the WWE games also uses WEM file. And this sound editor has a built-in conversion tool which actually works. Great. Convert it to WEM, replace the file names with the track ID, and now I got John Cena in my game. You can't see him, but he's there, trust me. Of course, it does not loop properly. Turns out this guy used this guide for Resident Evil sound audio modding. I mean, if it works, I guess. And it involves hex editing. Yikes. So, time to learn how this fucking thing works. So I download an hex editor, 30-day trial as well, so now I have a time limit. The file I need to edit is apparently called delphismain.bnk, which is funny to me because they just misspelled help this main understand any of this shit .bnk, and despite following this guide, I really can't make heads or tails of anything here. So after messing around a bit, I eventually just gave up and played some Elden Ring with my buddy. But then he had to go, so I was stuck here with nothing to do. So I went back to trying to make sense of those loop points, but to no avail. Then I researched if there was a way to convert BNK files into something actually readable. I tried all sorts of weird and sketchy software, and I came across WWiser. Just click here, load banks, view banks, and it's just a long list of objects. And it makes my browser lag, and it's completely fucking useless as I can't use the search function without opening all of these first, which I'm not going to do. How about dumping the sound bank? Now we're talking, and now using these values I can find what I'm looking for. Turns out it's all the same as the Resident Evil guide, except for these 4 piece of shit fucking bytes, which shifts the whole code by 4. Now I can actually change the values and make John Cena loop properly, and it still does not work. Actually, none of the changes I made to the code seem to do anything. Turns out I'm an idiot and forgot the game had different tracks for day and night, and I was editing the wrong one.
Oh yeah, baby.
Well, now it works. Time to change all of the overworld and battle music. But first, I need to make a little cheat sheet, just so I don't have to read this huge Resident Evil forum post every time I need to check something. Now I just have to edit the tracks in Reaper, make sure it's loopable, convert it to WEM using the WWE sound editor. Shout out to this guy for figuring out all the track IDs. Do this, and this, put that into there. Check my cheat sheet because I forgot what I was doing like 2 or 3 or 40 times. Compare the file with an unedited one because I fucked up somewhere and now the game won't load. There we go. And apparently there are 28 entries for the Team Galactic Eterna theme. Make a custom intro with credits to the people I stole the music from. You know, add some thunder sound effects or whatever. And that's it, I guess. Bob's your dad. Also, a friend of mine wanted me to do this. First of all, open up the mod directory for Brilliant Diamond. Create a folder, call it whatever. Now, copy or extracted ROM FS to that folder. Now we're going to get rid of everything we don't need. We don't want our mod to be unnecessarily big in file size. Just delete everything except for Delphis main.bnk and we should be good to go. Open up Sound Editor, click Tools, then Sound Converter, and convert your track to WEM. Then navigate to Data, Streaming Assets, Audio, Generated Sound Banks, and Switch. This is where we're going to place our WEM file. Rename the file to whatever the track ID is. In this example, I'm editing the Twin Leaf Town theme. And so from looking at this document, link in the description, I know that the ID for that is this. Now we're just gonna do a quick test. Make sure our mod is loaded, boot up the game, and check if it loads our track. Great, but let's make it loop properly. Open up your hex editor. I'm using 010 editor, but I'm sure you can use any editor. Click open file and navigate to your ROM.fs folder, data, streaming assets, audio, generated soundbacks, switch. Here you will find Delphis main.bnk. Open that. Then we're going to want to search for the ID of whatever track we wish to edit. Search for it as an unsigned 32-bit integer. And here we can see there are 6 entries in 3 pairs. Pairs each define a part of the soundtrack, one being the intro and the other one being the part that actually loops. This part here is the bike transition segment. The bike part only shows up when editing overworld track, and I'll get back to that later. For now, let's try and make this a bit more organized, so we can see what the hell is going on here. Using the bookmark function, I'm going to color code all of the segments we need to edit. Now, after the first pair of the track IDs, we are going to skip exactly 4 bytes, and then we'll bookmark the next 8. Pick a color, make it nice, and onwards to the next 8 bytes. Same deal, choose a nice color. We'll do exactly the same for the next 2 segments of 8. That's 4 segments of 8 in total. Repeat this for the other parts as well, using the same colors. Now we have to find and bookmark the actual loop points. Somewhere after the first part should be a string of H, Ö, double arrow, left bracket. So that string is right here, and we'll bookmark the following 8 bytes. Exactly 2 lines above, there is another 8 bytes, which will also bookmark, same color. And somewhere below, there should be another HÖ sharp right half a square, denoting another loop point, which will also bookmark, using another color this time. Your hex editor should look like a pride flag by now, and I'll quickly go over what everything here is. The first 2 8-byte segments we bookmarked in each part are both the starting points for their respective parts. They always have the exact same values, except the first one is negative. The next 8 bytes define the end point of the part, also a negative. And lastly we have these, which is just the total length of the audio file. With that out of the way, we just have to figure out which part is which, since they're not in the same order all the time. We just have to look at the starting point of the part. Whichever has the lowest value is the intro, and the bigger value is the looping part. As for the loop points, the same rule applies. The bigger number is the point in the track where it loops, and the lower is the point where it loops back to. So now we just have to figure out our values, which are all in milliseconds. For clarity's sake, I am writing down all my values before I start editing. Open up your track in Audacity, and the first thing we're going to find is the starting point of the intro part. Just put your marker wherever you want it to start, and we can see at the bottom here how many milliseconds in it is. For the end of the part, I always just put 0, which seems to work just fine. Next up is the total length of the track, which is very easy to find. Just select all and there it is. And that's it for the intro part. Now for the looping part, it's the exact same. In Audacity, find where you want the loop to start, write it down, put 0 here and total length here. Great. For the actual loop points, we're going to have to do some simple mathematics. We're going to find the point where we want it to loop and then subtract from it the start of the looping part. Then we have our value. The other one is found by subtracting the start of the intro from the start of the loop. Now we just have to replace the existing values with our own. Make sure to edit them as doubles. As for the bike transition thing here, I just copy my intro part and paste it here. It is very important to select whatever you want to replace when pasting, otherwise it will insert it instead, shifting everything below and potentially fucking up all your shit indeed. Now we just have to save, and we're going to boot up the game to see if we did everything correctly. There we go. Works as intended. Great.